biohacking, performance, mastery, mindset, holistic health. This is a show about getting better every single day. I'm on a mission, guys, to help over 1 million people get healthy and lose weight. Why? Because when you lose weight and get healthy, you have higher self-esteem. You have more self-confidence. And that person goes out and crushes their goals and starts living the highest version of themselves, and then they have way more impact on the world. What's up, guys? I am super excited for today's guest. I got with me Brian Uncle B Ayers. He is a men's sexual performance coach. He's got over 22 years in the business. He's done a ton of research into men's sexual health, and it's led him on to this journey where he's created this performance scale, and he's got this revolutionary product. It's called ESEIS, and he's got 25 sexual health program along with that. He's got 2 amazing books: How to Be a Better Lover in 30 Days or Less and Go Hard. Brian, Uncle B, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, I appreciate it having me on. I love your intro. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go.
Let's go. Man, I'm super excited to have you. And we were just talking backstage. And, the thing for me is, sure, we can talk. I mean, listen, you have an amazing YouTube channel, over 150,000 subscribers, I believe. And you do a great job. I just want to acknowledge you for the work that you're doing. But, we can talk about it seems so shallow, Joel, like to have stronger erections. Like, why are we talking about that? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is really important. I mean, it's not just about that. It goes deeper than that. Relationships are broken. If you're not, I'm going to share this with you. I remember, and actually, you probably even know this. Are you familiar with Kelly Starrett? He's like the CrossFit mobility guru guy.
I've heard the name, yeah.
You probably heard of him. So I remember a long time ago, Kelly said, if you're not waking up, you want to know like a quick diagnosis, like how your performance is, if you're stressed and stuff. He said, if you're not waking up with morning wood, men, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. And so, and we're not talking about, just the sexual form. We're talking about health. And so I'm excited to have you on the show, man, because I know that you're about that. You're about the bigger message. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I think and what you said is absolutely correct. A lot of people, when you start talking about men's parts, start talking about erections and things of that nature. It's like, well, why are you talking about it? That's why, it's sort of funny, sort of, some people get a little bit shy about it. And what I found is that, a lot of people will say that men don't want to talk about it. I can't get guys to shut up once they get going. It's a little bit too much information there, buddy. But it's important. It's important because, we need to look at the way that we think about it differently, because basically men, we lucked up. We have a indicator stick in the middle of our body. And so, like you said, if you don't have that morning erection, then there's an issue there. And let's take it a step deeper. If you have erectile dysfunction, there's a good possibility that you could have a heart attack within the next 3 years. So,
wow,
it's they call it a canary in the coal mine for a reason. If you don't have erections, that means that there's other parts of your body that has an issue. The reason why it shows up in your erections first is because inside of your penis, the capillaries, the veins and capillaries are the smallest in the body. So we're talking about one blood platelet at a time going through. So that's what we're talking about. If that's happening down there, that's an early indication that upstream, your heart, your liver, something else is going on. So really important. And like you said, relationships. The stories I got a guy who was saying he knew why he would get divorced while he was getting married.
Whoa.
Because he knew that he couldn't perform. And
wow.
I know of women who've left their men because of that issue, and and men who leave their women because of that issue. And that one sort of caught me because I've had a couple of guys who were like, I stopped performing well, and I broke up with my girl. And it's like, hold up, why was she complaining? No, she was supportive, but I just well, really what it comes down to is a constant reminder that you can't perform. So you're just walking
Yeah.
around, she's walking around with her, doing whatever. And so it just becomes a something that you think about all the time. So, and there's a level of depression that happens. There's a lot of things that go into it. So it's a serious topic. But it's something that can be helped. And in the process of getting your erections back, you're getting your entire health back.
Yeah.
It's really that important.
Love it, brother. I'm always curious, anytime I interview people, I'm always curious, like, how did you get started? I mean, you're not a doctor, you're Uncle B. Like, nobody calls you Doctor Uncle. Maybe they should. But you know what I'm always fascinated with too is what I love is most of the Western doctors that I know of, they can't solve this. They can't solve these
Mm.
problems. And we need people like you who, for some reason, you went down the rabbit hole. So I'm just curious, like, was there a day or that you realized, like, man, this is what I want to like commit my life to. I want to do something different. Yeah. Was there like a day you remember?
It wasn't necessarily a day; it was just a process. So the way this all got started was the original form. Let me back all the way up. So we first started with a product called African Fly. It's an all natural liquid aphrodisiac. The It's a nod to Spanish fly, but the herbs were from Africa, so hence the name African Fly. We've actually changed the name since then, but the basically, it was me with my ex at the time, with my wife at the time. We went to a party. She's from Liberia, and we went to a Christmas party, and there was a root in a bottle. And we were like, "Well, what is that?" And they said, "Aphrodisiac." So I was like, "Okay, pour." And so,
I'll take two of those.
well, yeah, yeah, give me
Yeah.
a shot. Well, in the morning, woke up giving each other high fives. So I was like, "Hey, this actually works."
Yeah.
So she was into herbology, I was into entrepreneurism, and we just sort of made that work. We had our first sale in Poland, and this is way back. This is like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was odd, but we kept going, and great product worked for the vast majority of men. The issue was that for some guys it didn't work for, and it was like, well, okay, how is it that it works for a good 90% of the guys who are taking it, but we have this subgroup over here that it doesn't work for? What's
Mm,
going on? So after talking with them, asking questions, it come to find out, well, we're selling a supplement. It's supposed to supplement the other things you're doing, and they weren't doing those other things.
mm.
So no matter how strong, whether you're taking a medicine, a supplement, whatever, if you're drinking it with a fifth of vodka, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the extreme end, but from there, it was just that, okay, let me just dive deep into like what it is that guys really need to do. And just to break it down really simply, it's just our patterns. So fortunately, nature gives us a good 18-20 year push of energy. And then after that, you're on your own. It's like it's time for you to figure this out.
Yeah.
And so, you can go through your 20s and you're like, okay, I'm sort of coasting here, but you hit different ages, you get older depending on what your pattern is. And for some guys, their pattern was, well, I used to eat 200 animals a month. And basically, it's a sausage, egg, biscuit for morning for the breakfast, a chicken
Yeah.
sandwich, and then 4 wings and shrimp fried rice. We're talking
Yeah.
about 10 different animals at that
Yeah.
point. And then, you do that every day. That's a pattern, and it shows up in terms of you not being as healthy as you possibly could be. Not drinking water, not exercising, sitting on the couch, Netflixing. We got people who don't go to sleep. All of that adds up to you're going to have a problem down the road, and sometimes it comes up faster. And the thing, and this is really important, we have to understand that we're living in an artificial world. So I mean, you're not actually here. We're not talking to each other. We got the microphone, we got
Yeah.
the internet, we have lights around us, we have all these different things that literally just 100 years ago was completely different.
Mm.
In order for us to have a conversation, we had to be face to face. So you have the energy that's there. We were actually a lot of people, and a lot of people don't think about this. 100 years ago, uh, less than 50% of the country had electricity. So that changes everything.
Yeah.
When it gets dark outside, you go to sleep. There's really nothing left to do. When it comes to the amount of walking that you do, is you have to. When you hear your grandparents talk about, well, I had to walk up the hill both ways to get to school, this because it was true.
Yeah.
So we're missing out on the walking. We're missing out on the regular exercise. We are inundated with all types of sugar. All of this just adds up, and the crazy thing is that 40% of men over 40 have ED issues,
Wow.
50% of men over 50, 60% of men over 60, and 70% of men over 70. Easy to, do this calculation. All you have to do is just go to, think about an older guy. It's like, is he as sexually healthy as he was when he was in his 20s? He could be,
Yeah.
but more than likely not. So the thing I point out to guys is, if you don't get a hold of this, especially if you're in that 40% of guys who have ED issues now, then there's a good possibility that you could live for the next 20 to 30 years without an erection.
Yeah, that's terrible. I always joke around too with clients, and I always, and you probably say something similar. It's like, and you actually kind of alluded to it. When we were designed to, like you said, in the early 20s and even like 18, let's just say
Mhm.
let's say 18 to 30, you were designed to procreate, have lots of babies, and then die. And after that, it's like you're designed to not really live much longer. But we
Mhm.
have created this artificial world where there's medicines and things that can actually keep us going longer. But that doesn't mean we're thriving in that environment. So
Right.
um,
Exactly.
yeah, so we got to find ways to mitigate that and do some of those lifestyle choices that you're making, along with the supplements and the food choices and everything that comes with it. I'm curious for you, and just all your research and all the guys and people that you've worked with, and you mentioned a lot of them, but what do you think is like the most common mistake that men are making when they're thinking about enhancing their sexual performance? Is there one that for you just sticks out the most?
There's two.
Okay.
One is slightly controversial. I sort of alluded to it, the amount of meat that we eat.
Mm,
I'm not a chicken hugger or a cow hugger. If it comes down to it, I'm murdering them to eat.
yeah.
But but the issue is that, if you think about it, if you had a family of five living on a farm, it would be impossible to have eggs every day for breakfast. It would be impossible to have chicken every day, but we do that now. And
Mm,
so, because you just run out of, but I often joke about how I never saw a chicken until I was 42,
mm.
and grew up in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And it's like, well, why would I go to see a chicken? You go to the zoo, you go to see pandas and
Yeah.
giraffes. You don't go to see chickens, and but I've been eating chicken my entire life. So we have a food industry that continually pumps out so much meat, and the meat actually causes your blood to thicken. It causes problems with inflammation, and so you end up with erectile dysfunction.
Mm,
You're supposed to have 4 erections overnight, and the number of erections that you have, the quality of the erections in terms of how long they last and the amount of blood flow that meet. So if you're doing that on a day-to-day basis every day for years, you're going to have problems.
mm.
So I tell guys to cut down. So I went from over 200 a month to now like maybe 4, just for the taste of it and things like that. I had to make these changes, and this is the thing that's really important for a lot of people. It's like, well, that's too drastic. I don't want to do that. It's like, well, you can eat the chicken or you can have an erection. It's up to you.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is sleep. Uh,
Love that you
it's
said that. Yeah.
Yeah, super. I mean, that's where your testosterone is formed. That's when your body is healing. That's where you get those 4 erections. And if you have the erections happen during your REM cycle of sleep, and so waking up is typically that 5th erection, and so that's what we call a morning woody.
Mm,
So you have to have all of that stuff in place in order for you to get to your the highest level of health. And what I did, what you mentioned before, is called ESEIS 25. That's ESEIS 25. It's actually, we actually created a game out of sexual health, out of health, period. But the is E is for energy, S is for sleep, the other E is for exercise. And then you have intermittent fasting, I, and soul, which deals with your stress levels. So with
love it.
these 5 different categories, you can measure yourself every day and you score yourself with a 5 in each one of those categories. So if you're having a great day, you end up with 25. In each one of these categories, this works. It wouldn't matter if you were, living in the 1800s, 1700s, or you live in 2000 years from now. As far as your body is concerned, these are the things that you need to pay attention to. And so with this process, In each category, you set your own goal, and so you can gradually get better. For example, for me, it took me 3 years to get from eating all those animals to where I am now. Uh, but in terms of just, for example, if you're like, okay, I'm eating meat at every meal, I do need to cut that out. Your goal for that day is I'm gonna pick one meal where I don't eat meat. There you go. As far as sleep is concerned, it's like, well, I only get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, which is really bad. You're setting
Yeah.
yourself up for some cancer issues.
Yeah.
Uh, so okay, I'm gonna make sure I get to sleep early, on time. Yeah, start with just being on time, going to sleep a set time that I always go to sleep. That helps your body fall asleep faster, get deeper sleep. So that's your goal. Same thing for exercise. I want to start doing walking 5 miles. Great thing to do that. Even 2 miles. Um,
Mhm.
Doing that every day, just set your goals. Intermittent fasting is like, okay, for intermittent fasting, a lot of guys, that's sort of hard to do because basically you train, it's like a baby. You're like a baby. Your body is trained to eat at certain times.
Yep.
And so, if I was used to eating at first thing in the morning, 7 o'clock, I was eating like, it was horrible. 3 egg omelets every day. And I had to go from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, till I got to the point where it's like I do intermittent fasting is easy for me now. In fact, I haven't eaten today. And so I got that 16-hour window of not eating, and then 8 hours of that's my window of eating.
Mm.
And for stress, picking something that's in your life, like, okay, you know what, this project over here in my house is just a big clutter of crap sitting in the corner. Let me just remove that. That's just taking care of a small. So when you're combining all of these things together, your health just goes up. Your testosterone levels go up. You're taking care of everything that's supposed to happen. And so if you're getting 25 in, consistently, that's where we start saying that you're creating exponential energy. Your body can heal extremely fast. But if you're doing 3 of these 5 things, and the other 2 things you're just like horrible at, there's plenty of guys I know who go out and they exercise like crazy, they eat wonderful, but their sleep is horrible.
Yeah.
And so it just takes everything off the board. Or you can do all of these things and just be stressed out of your mind. And it's harder to lose weight when you're stressed. Your cortisol level is high. There are so many things that go on. So I think the big message for a lot of guys is that it isn't just, okay, I have an issue, let me just go to the gas station and grab a pill, or let me go to the doctor and get Viagra.
You mean extends at the gas station? Those don't work.
Extends. Well, I'm not sure why they still there, but they got what? And Rhino was supposed to be taken out like years ago,
Okay.
but it's still there. So, those are the issues that you really have to pay attention to. You have to supplement those supplements, and in fact, the product that we have, formerly called African Fly, it is now called Goodwood. Uh,
Ooh,
if you
I
want to
like
check
that.
that out, go to givegoodwood.com.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a great name for a website. I love it.
Thanks.
Was that hard to get?
Yeah, yes.
Some negotiating? Yeah.
There was some things we had to do. We wanted, of course we wanted goodwood.com, but
Yeah.
there's other furniture stores and an event in England called Goodwood. So
Yeah. Who would have thought?
yeah. But we got Goodwood, protecting family jewels since 1999. That's what we do.
Amazing. Amazing. I really love the ESEIS. I mean, that is just such a great formula and acronym for just overall health. I think you've really created something easy to follow, and I love it because here's what is true. If you don't track what you're doing, then how do you know what's working or what's not? We all think we don't have that awareness. We just think, yeah, I'm doing great. Or, like you said, there's so many people I know, like 4 hours of sleep, they think they're like, what's the problem with that? And so, like you said, man, there's a great book out there by Matthew Walker, and it's called Why We Sleep. And I couldn't believe just the difference between 6 hours and 7 hours. I used to think I was amazing I'm like, 6 hours, I feel great. And he's like, you're not. He's like, the difference between 6 and 7 is like exponential. And so I love that you bring that into the equation when you're working with clients. I do want to push back on you just a little bit, because I know people are going to ask me, they're going to say, well, Uncle B, what about, the carnivore diet? Like, I'm doing great on that. And I just saw Paul Saladino, who's, very big carnivore guy. And he was just sharing his testosterone levels and saying, "Hey, look, I don't know how old he's. I think he's like in his early 40s, and he's like, hey, well, my testosterone's in the 700s, and it's balanced with his like follicle stimulating hormone." He's like, I'm a
Mhm.
carnivore, so what do you got to say about that, guys? I'm curious, just like,
Mhm.
and listen, there's so many studies on everything, but I'm just curious, like, where do you like, what's your opinion? And obviously, I'm all about results. I know you
Mhm.
get good results, and you've gotten good results for yourself. But yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, like I said, I'm down to 4 animals a month, and I'm at 700, and I'm
Yeah,
51. So,
nice.
uh, got him on that one.
I was gonna say, man, you look good. How old are you? I'm glad you came out organically.
Thanks, yeah. But this is what I have to say about that is that that's not a long term success goal. Let's do something very easy for everybody to understand.
I
Give me
agree.
2 of your children. I'm going to take let's call them 5. They're precious at 5. And we're going to take one child, we're going to give them nothing but fruits, vegetables, plants, legumes, beans, everything like that. The other child, we're going to give nothing but meat. So let's give them 2 months and let's see what happens. So for the child that has nothing but vegetables and fruits and everything like that, they're actually going to get smarter. They're going to be faster. They're going to have more flexibility. They're just going to have a better disposition. The other child, well, they're not going to make it to 2 months because they're going to come in and snatch your child. It's like you can't just feed a child nothing but meat because there's no fiber in there. And so in the next week, they're going to be, Daddy, I can't go to the bathroom. So it's, I mean, we're talking about people who are saying, and once again, I don't really want to get into that huge level of debate. I'm saying
Sure.
it's just too much. There has never been a point in human history where we could eat this level of animal. So to say all of a sudden, well, within the last 50 years, our physiology has changed to the point that we can eat whatever we want to, and we can eat just tons of meat and it's going to be okay, is not true. The diseases that we talk about are used to be called the diseases of the rich because only the rich could afford to eat meat at that volume back in the day in the 1800s. So diabetes was rare. Now we have diabetes in 10-year-olds. So
Yeah.
hypertension was rare. All of these different diseases that we consider to be common weren't existing before. And the main thing that shifted in terms of our diet was the move to continuously eating meat. So meat is two things. Meat is survivor food. So you can survive on this. We often talk about, our ancestors was like, they were hunter gatherers. They were gatherers who rarely hunted because it's just too difficult to, it's like I'm going around with a stone and, a stone shaft or spear or whatever, and
Yeah.
I'm going to take down a buffalo. Okay, once I take down the buffalo or whatever animal that I'm taking down, you have to field dress it. It means take the gut out before the stomach explodes, and you have the acid all over the body. Is completely ruined. You can't eat it. So that's a very difficult task of just sitting there and slicing something open and removing the innards so that you can take it. And it's a difficult process.
Mm.
So it's much better to like, is that a fruit tree? Let me just go over there and pick that up and eat it. Um, and the last thing I'll say on this, because I know some people are like, "Oh, pulling the hair out," but like I said, I'm saying that just cut back on it. It doesn't have to be excessive. It doesn't have to be the only thing you eat. Um, the other thing is that we're not carnivores. That's always extremely funny to me. It's like we pick certain things about animals and we say, well, yeah, all men are dogs. It's like just because dogs have sex, now we're just like them. That doesn't make any sense. And the real thing about a carnivore is a carnivore. Well, first of all, if you have a pet, you're not a carnivore because carnivores don't have pets. Number two, if you have to cook your food, you're not a carnivore. A carnivore will eat the animal right after it's dead and it will eat through its stomach. Something that we can't do. You look at your cat, just pick your cat up and take your teeth and go for it and let's see what happens. That was disgusting. That's because it is disgusting. You're not a carnivore. You're actually a human who we're the only ones who take the animal, kill it, skin it, cut it, gut it, et cetera, et cetera. And we talk about don't eat processed foods. An animal is by far the most processed food of all because it used to be alive and completely inedible, and now it's edible.
Yeah. Awesome
Mm.
stuff. Hey, and listen, Paul Saladino, just for everybody who doesn't know him, as he's like the carnivore MD, he's even changed over the last couple of years. If anybody's followed him, I mean, he went from pure carnivore to now he has a little bit of rice, he has a little bit of honey. So,
Mhm.
things have changed. And so it's kind of funny. I know a lot of people give him some slack. They're like, what are you? Are you the carnivore MD with rice and honey now? Like, what happened, man? I thought you were carnivore. So,
Yeah, he grew up. That's he got older and was like, "Hey, this isn't working too well." Because, like I said, when I was doing it, I hated getting up in the morning because I would wake
mm,
up in pain.
mm,
And it was like, okay, it became a guessing game. I swing my feet over the side of the bed and I put my feet down. It's like, okay, my feet don't hurt today. Okay, that's great. And let me stand up. My knee. We're going to start with that. And my back. And so, I'm limping to work. Um, and this because, my diet was horrible at that point.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, for once again, for those guys who like, I need to fix something, it's always your pattern. I mean, there's a reason why you
yeah,
got to having erection issues, and there's a path back. But it's your body will do everything. It's already pre-programmed. It knows exactly what to do. But once again, we're in an artificial world. I mean, literally, humans are supposed to be laying on the ground. You actually get an energy charge from being on the ground. It's like, guys who deal with cars. You take a car battery and you put it on the ground, it'll drain in like a half an hour to a couple of days. I forget what the number is,
yeah,
but the same energy that's taking the energy from the battery will give it to you as a human. We're supposed to be, maybe like a cowhide or something on the ground, and we're laying on top of that, and we every day getting that energy. And it's like, when is the last time you slept on the ground or even had your bare feet on the ground?
yeah,
So we're missing out on a ton of things. The sun, vitamin D, which is actually a hormone in your body. We out in the sun. 80% of your that vitamin D comes from the sun, and so that's a precursor for developing your testosterone. And how many years? So you sitting in the office and it's like, well, I can see the sun outside. It's just not touching me. So
yeah.
all of these things add up.
Yeah. Love it, man. Great stuff. I was gonna ask you, like, so then what can men do about it? But I feel like you've already answered it. You gave us like the ESEIS acronym, the 5 steps, right? That they can do.
Mhm.
And I think really what you hit on, if you had a name like the number one thing that they can stop doing if they are suffering from ED, erectile dysfunction, you would say, I'm assuming first from talking to you is change your
Mhm.
habits.
Yeah.
Look at your patterns, right? Would that be accurate?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because it's it makes you what you are. And think about it. At that time that you got into the best shape of your life, it was a certain pattern that you did. It was like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to the gym and things like that. Oh, something, and I'm constantly in the process of learning, and so I love sharing this information. This right here, there we go. Water.
Oh, what is that?
What?
What is that magical juice that you have? The man juice that you're holding?
Yes, it is man juice. So I've been doing a lot of research. Actually, a video is going to be coming out on my YouTube channel talking about this. But basically, 75% of the population is dehydrated. That whole concept of drinking 8 glasses of water doesn't work for the vast majority of people. You need to be drinking a lot more. And the reason for that is what we're putting in our bodies aside from that. If you look at the grocery store, you have one aisle of fruits and vegetables, and the rest, everything else is dry, including the meat. Uh, even if it's juicy red meat, it's still dry for what your body needs. And
Yeah.
so basically, you're looking at constantly taking something that's dry and putting it into a wet bag. That's what we are. We're wet
Mhm.
bags with even our bones are I believe 25% water. So you have to have especially if you're a person like me, I sweat a lot, and if you work out, then you need to have a lot more water. Since I've gone through the process of, I did the calculations, and it was like I need to be drinking over 2 gallons of water. That's just for me personally, for my weight, for my age. As you get older, you retain less water. But one of the interesting things about the entire process of adding water into your life is that two things. One, your metabolism goes up. So, it helps you with that. And two, what you're actually drinking when you're drinking the water, a lot of it's going into your muscles. So fat doesn't store water, but muscle stores water. And so when you're filling in your muscles, your muscles are going to use the fat for energy, depending on what you're doing. But that's the reason why your metabolism starts going up. And for those guys who are looking to get bigger down there, yeah, that's what you do. You drink water to feed your wood. That's, that's the way this works. So as you're drinking water, I mean, you have soft muscle fibers in your penis, and so yeah, it's going to be fuller more often, longer. It's just going to that's what you're missing. If you're thinking like I could be bigger, typically men are 20 to 30% smaller than they could be, and that's because the environment that we're in, we're sitting down at this wrong angle. We're we're just sitting down for long periods of time. We don't get the movement and everything else that we need. So we're typically smaller than our largest size could be. And so, and that's one of the
Let
other
gravity
things.
do its work, as I feel is like what you're telling me.
Yeah,
Use the
absolutely.
force of gravity. I'm standing up right now, by the way, as we're doing this podcast. So hopefully, I'm mitigating some of that and
There you go.
growing stronger right now.
Yeah, yeah, I have my standing desk in the other room, so I agree with you on that one. But yeah, there's a lot of things. Once again, is it's not that it's complicated. It's just the world has now made it complicated for us to get to where we need to be at. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's for me, it's constant study, and I hope other guys are taking that away from this. Is that you have to constantly look at. I mean, the great thing is that we have YouTubes, we have the internet to be able to get information, and but it also comes with a huge cost. It's like, yes, we have the internet, but we also have all the other things that come along with it that make it more difficult to get to your naturally best self.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. I want to ask you a couple more questions. You know, one is, what do you think women should know about men's sexual performance? Is there anything that jumps out at you?
Everything. Everything. You don't know at all. Oh, I've done quite a few shows with when women podcasters, and just to share this information. So, and they've shared information with me, and I think that that dialogue needs to be had. So, what a lot of times what women don't understand, they just know that it's supposed to work, and when it doesn't work, it's like, well, you know, what's wrong? I
Right.
mean,
What's
because
wrong with me? Right. Is what
yeah,
what
yeah,
they're
they'll
thinking.
say what's wrong with me. Or if it's not, some of them don't think it's them. They think it's just you.
Yeah.
Um, and but it's like not understanding, and even for men, if we don't understand, we can't tell them what to
Yeah.
do to help. Typically, I call it the Valentine's Day syndrome. Valentine's Day is the worst day of the year for men who are having anywhere near an erection issue to go through,
Yeah.
because first of all, you got the level of stress because of the expectations, and then you got her a box of chocolates. Sugar lowers your testosterone levels, so she got some, you got some. Then you go to dinner, you got that, maybe steak and lobster with a potato, so you got the inflammation going on with the animals, and then you have the
Bring on the alcohol.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. You didn't get the alcohol in there. Dessert, more more sugar. The potato, more sugar.
Yeah.
And so after that, you're supposed to go home and perform. Recipe for that's not going to happen. so, uh, so yeah. So what women need to understand is like, okay, if you're the nurturer, if you're the person that takes care of bringing the food into the house, well, yeah, be aware of what is necessary. So I've done a bunch of videos on food. Food is the number two item on most searched for item on YouTube, which is insane. But hey,
Food, you mean food for erections? Is that what you're talking about?
well, just food, period.
Food period. Yeah.
But
Got it.
yeah, but when it comes to eating for erections, it's very simple. Fruits and vegetables. You can break down different things like watermelon, called nature's Viagra, the black seeded watermelon. It has L-citrulline, which a lot of people are familiar with in terms of blood flow, especially for guys who are working out. It, nuts, fruits, berries, all types of it just works in all different areas. So there are a lot of times where I'm talking about fruits and vegetables that are common to us in the U.S. Uh, that it just crosses over. So, you're talking about something's going to help you with your testosterone. Another thing is going to help lower estrogen, um, like oranges lowers estrogen, also helps with blood flow. So, they all cross over in some form or fashion. And once you understand that whole process, a lot of times people ask for, like, what's the perfect food to eat? And it's like there is no one perfect food. I mean, you think about it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they went back to England with oranges, and it was like, oh my God, this is the most wonderful thing. This is oranges. It's like, yeah, it's just something from the other side of the planet. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. It was like you have fruits and vegetables over in England. You have it's 250,000 edible plants on the planet, and we consume like 4% of that.
Sure. Yep.
So there's a lot left that we don't know, and none of it is, in any way some extra perfect formula thing. It was like kiwis were hot at one point, and then pomegranates, and now it's avocados. It's like, yeah, they keep coming out with stuff that's supposed to be
Yeah.
something special about it. It's just the fruit. Eat it.
I love that, dude. Okay. Awesome. Um, I wanted to ask you too, I love hacks and those kind of
Hmm.
cool things, but I'm also at the end of the day, I always tell people you got to believe in for long-term growth and success, you need mastery, which is
Hmm.
everything you're talking about. There is no quick fix. But I'm just curious, is there any tech or anything that you like or have seen that's been effective for helping men with having stronger erections and just overall sexual performance? I don't know if there's any devices or anything out there.
Hmm.
And the only reason I bring that up is I was at a conference not too long ago, and this sexual health expert was talking about penis pumps and was saying like, absolutely, every guy should be doing it. I was like, wow, I was just really surprised to hear that. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I thought that was only like, what's that famous porn star? I don't know, Jerry
Jeremy.
something. Jeremy, thank you, something
Yeah.
like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was like, I thought that was just for those guys, but she was like, no, like everybody should be doing this. So, but I'm just curious, yeah, anything like that you've seen, or anything, any tech or anything that you like that, even though like you said, we're in this artificial world, the Matrix.
Hmm.
Is there any tech that you do like?
Actually, I'm wearing it right now. This is an Apollo,
Yeah,
Apollo brand, and so basically, what this does, it just gives out a small vibration, or you can actually turn it up or down. But I've noticed that when I have this during the day, my sleep is better. And
mm,
so it has different settings for energy and focus. If you want to relax, sleep, be social, it's just giving a vibration to your body. But yeah, that helps me with sleep. I think as far as tech is concerned, um, you know, you can use it in just different ways. So for
yeah,
myself, I use YouTube. I'll have like during the day sounds just going. Even right now, my TV is on, and it's a lake, not a lake. I'm sorry, a stream in the forest and everything like that. I got a nice sized TV. I might as well have something that's gentle, that's relaxing. I think the best tech is plants.
mm, amazing.
Um, yeah, because even they've done studies. It's like people who are sick, if you have plants in the room, they recover faster, and people who are elderly, if they have plants in the room, they live longer. So it's like, well, before you get to those two different stages, just go ahead and have plants in your life, and you know they're typically cheap to get, and cheap to maintain. You just need water and put them near the sun, and just pay attention to them, and that's it. So it just feels better.
Yeah,
Actually, I got one on the wall back there too.
yeah,
So,
yep,
um, but yeah, as far as other tech, yeah, I think it's just how you use things. So for
yeah.
me, there on my phone, I have a lot of it. Actually, let me give you one. Prana,
Prana.
Prana is Prana. It is an app that's, I'm not sure it's on Apple. I do know it's on the Google store. It helps you with your breathing. So it'll go, it just has a tone that you just follow in terms of like whether or not you should be breathing in, breathing out, holding it. And so I'll do that like constantly.
Yeah.
And as far as whether or not it works, I mean, you're working your breath. You're actually increasing your blood oxygen by a good 20%. Makes you
Hmm.
stronger, makes you smarter. And I was hanging out with my nephew over the summer, and we were just doing that whole game of who can stay underwater the longest. So, yeah, the 51-year-old beat the 15-year-old.
Yeah. Love that, man. That's awesome. I wanted to talk briefly too about your product, Goodwood. Can you kind of talk about, maybe, and I know you mentioned the aphrodisiac, but now you've kind of changed some things that you mentioned in the
Mhm.
formulation, and it seems like now it's working more mainstream for anybody, not just some men. And so, other like, what can you say about it, or what does it have in it, and why does it work? Is it when I think about it, I think of like an adaptogen, right? An adaptogen
Mm.
kind of,
Mhm.
let's just say maca or pine pollen, like some of those, roots, they wherever you're at in your body, whoever you are, men, women, they're adaptogens, and so they find out kind of like what you need, and they give you more or less of that. But yeah, but
Mhm.
talk about Goodwood, and just some of the results that you're seeing, from men and stuff.
Sure. So, Goodwood. Let me put the bottle. Can we
There it
get it there?
is.
There we go.
Oh,
It is a all natural liquid formula, so you don't have to worry about taking another pill. Made from 8 different herbs that basically do, as you were saying, in terms of increasing your blood flow and increasing your testosterone levels. Those are the two main things. It also balances out your hormones.
mm,
And so with that, you're taking it 3 times a day, just a teaspoonful, and it works in a variety of different ways. Basically, it's just making you healthy. Call it a testosterone salad. So you can take it a lot of, I've tried to drink like half a bottle to see what happens, and it just
yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
I just pissed out the rest. But as far as the effectiveness of it, very effective. We have like a less than 1% return rate, and we offer a 60-day money back guarantee. And we have people who've been, it's hard to sell something for 23 years that doesn't work. So, and I think the most important thing that we do, aside from that, once again, is supplementing the supplement. So we have Goodwood, and we also have Goodwood 101.
ooh,
So that actually like walks you through how to take the product and gives you access to ESEIS 25, which we used to sell at $595 for the course. We actually, with Goodwood, we're actually just allowing you to take that course.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's taking my 3 years and 300 videos on YouTube and narrowing
Condensing it
it,
all down. Yeah.
yeah, narrowing it all down. And so, that increases the success rate. I've noticed that people who follow, who've seen the videos on YouTube, who purchase, they you can go to the videos on YouTube. The channel is Give Good Wood on YouTube, and just look through the comment section. You'll see people who like what I've said about the different techniques and things that you can use. But there are also people who will say like, yeah, this is, the formula is great. It worked for them. And we're talking about it working for guys who are in their 20s and in their 70s. I mean, there's a huge obvious difference between those two. We are actually coming out with Goodwood Advanced. I've been taking that recently and love it. um, so Goodwood Advanced, basically we added nettle in there. So nettle
Oh,
actually helps with your body in terms of it being able to absorb testosterone. And that's one of the issues that as you get older, you're talking about absorption issues. So that's one of the things, one of the other reasons why I drink a lot of water, because when you're hydrated, your body can absorb nutrients better. And so that's important because, if you're running around taking something and, spending a bunch of money on some pharmaceuticals and stuff like that, and it doesn't have an effect, is because, well, yeah, your body can't absorb it. And the older you get, the less sleep you have, the less water that your body is taking on, the less absorption that happens. So you need to understand all of these different things so that, you know, I have no intention of being in the old folks' home and not being able to get down with Miss Johnson. That's
I'm with you, brother. I want to be 70 and I want to be thriving, and I don't see why
Mhm.
not. I don't see
Oh
why
yeah,
not.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
love that.
and just one other thing. So one way that everything is about measurement. So that's the reason why we have the ESIS 25. You're tracking, but it's like, what are you tracking towards? And that's the sexual performance scale. It's a scale of 1 to 10. 10 means everything works. One means you need to go to the hospital. Most guys that I'm working with are between 5 and a 7, which means that they're unreliable. Like a 7 is like, well, some days it works, some days it doesn't work. A 6 is like, well, a lot of times I'm not sure what's going on. It doesn't work. And a 5 is like, this is a crapshoot. I'm not sure what's going on, or you need a lot of stimulation in order to get things going.
Mm.
So, and below that, you're just talking about different levels of erectile dysfunction. But our goal is to get everybody who's, 3, 4, 5, just keep moving up the scale until you get it to a 10. And a 10 is basically, think of a very healthy 21-year-old. So that's it's a high bar to reach, but that's the thing. The incredible thing about your body, you can take yourself back years. I am now healthier than I was when I was in my 40s, definitely.
Love that.
So I think I'm sitting around 35, and now that I've added water to the mix, I think I'm going down even more. So uh, I think is it's a game. I mean, it's a game with the most pleasurable result.
Yeah.
If sex was an Olympic sport, I want to join in. I want
You want
I
that?
want
You
to
want to be on
train.
the? You want to be hitting them? You want to be medaling? You want to be hitting
Yes,
that
I
that,
want
that
to be
stand, the
meddling
podium?
because because the opposite is the agony of defeat, and she's just sitting there looking at you like, so not this time either.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that, fellas. You do not want that. So.
Yeah. Awesome stuff, man. We're running up at top of the hour. I got a call. I want to ask
Mhm.
you, I want to jump into some lightning round questions with you. But before I do, anything that I didn't ask you that you wish I had?
Um, I think we hit a lot. Is there anything else? I don't think we missed anything. We're good. All I will say is, guys, just recognize that as you're getting older, you do need to understand that this does not get easier. It gets
Mhm.
more difficult. So the time to start, getting your sexual health together is yesterday. Just keep, you know, pay attention to guys like you. Check me out on Give Good Wood on YouTube. It's all about getting as much information as possible, trying things out. Be open to trying different things out.
Yeah, love that, brother. All right, let's jump into some lightning round questions. I'm
Okay.
curious, man. What are some choices that you think you made, or maybe a choice that you made that made you who you are today?
Hmm. Uh, doing what I really wanted to do, which is help people. So getting away from corporate America. I mean, it's easier to work for corporate America. You just go in there, do what you have to do, keep your head down, get a check. But you're living with your head down. So switching over to doing this full time, I love it. I love the responses I get from guys. I love changing. You're changing people's lives, so that's pretty freaking cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I couldn't agree more, man. We were talking beforehand, and I was in the 9 to 5 job, and there's nothing wrong with it, but a lot of
Mhm.
people are just punching in, punching out, and I knew there was more for me, and I'm like, I don't want to keep doing this, and so it's
Mhm.
inspiring to hear people like you say the exact same thing. It's amazing. I'm curious, you're such a force in the wellness world, man. Who inspires you? Is there anybody that you follow or anybody that inspires you?
Oh wow. There are a lot, and I mean, I'm trying to figure out this one because I follow a lot of different people. Um, I wouldn't say there's one person because I follow so many
Yeah,
different people. I think it's and because it's we're Funk Roberts. I follow him in terms of he's a YouTuber. Is and he deals with guys over 40 in terms of their exercise routines and everything like that. So there's people who are on that level. I followed some folks who are just dealing the sexual health side and um, Wim Horn. I forget his name off the top of my head. The guy who has the breathing method.
Wim
Uh,
Hof. Yeah,
Wim Hof, yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That sort of got me into using prana because it just has different settings for more variations. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's and even paying attention to guys who just talk about relationships because I don't go deep into that because that goes into the soul side of things in terms of dealing with your level of stress.
yeah,
But that's in and of itself, it's like you're doing all this stuff. It's not just for you. It's for your, typically you want to be with somebody else. And like, how do you make that part good? Because you can't do everything right and be stressed out and still not be successful. So, yeah.
yeah. I'm a big reader, as you can see behind me.
Mm.
Any books for you? Are there like a top 1 to 3 books that you just recommend that someone read that impacted you in your life, and you'd say, hey, you should probably read this too.
Mm. I'm still stuck on 48 Laws of Power. Um,
Love it, man. Classic.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, just in terms of how you deal with different things, and for me, my thought processes deal with competition. Because wildly enough, competition actually increases your testosterone levels. So, so reading that and just it's sort of like an art of war type of thought process going on
Yeah.
there. It's like competing and all this other kind of stuff. So I use that, when even when you're in the throes of making love, I'm like I'm in competition. I'm going to be the best ever. So yeah,
Love
competition
that.
right there.
I love that, brother. Last two questions. We'll wrap it up. Any rituals or hacks or practices or something that you do on a regular basis? Some people like do gratitude journaling. What do you do?
Mhm. Yeah, you just called it out. Gratitude journaling. Actually, the first few minutes as soon as I wake up, I try to focus in on doing gratitude. Also, you mentioned tech. I do uh, calm, the daily calm. So I'd
Yeah.
use them for meditating. So my morning is really setting up for the day. So the thing I often tell guys, I mean, especially when it comes to something like meditating or even just breathing, it seems so simplistic. It seems like it's not necessary. It has a huge effect on your day. If you're trying to have exponential returns on your day, meditate. That's going to set your whole body and your mind up for being the best you can be.
Yeah. Love that. Last question, my man, Brian, Uncle B. Ayers. Where can people find you and connect with you if they want to learn more about you?
All you have to do is type in "Give Good Wood." So yeah, we're on Facebook at Give Good Wood, Twitter at Give Good Wood, Give Good Wood. There's givegoodwood.com and Twitter, Instagram, Give Good Wood. So we're all over with Give Good Wood. So yeah,
You have an I
and
just want to say too, you have an amazing YouTube channel. I think everybody should go check you out and subscribe and follow you there because it's a wealth of information. I mean, you're on there all the time. So
yeah, thank you. Yes, yes. Please come on through. We got 300 videos. Uh so you can find out anything and everything and ask questions because I love answering questions. I'm always in the comment section.
yeah, awesome, brother. So grateful to have you on the show. I appreciate you.
Hey, thank you for having me. I loved it. You got so much energy. I appreciate what you do.
Thanks, man.